Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Recently I ran across this article titled, "You'll Never Guess How Much Millionaires Spend at Restaurants Each Month." Of course I clicked, and I'm thinking it's gonna be less than you'd expect, right? Because most millionaires are not the image that we or society attempts to make us believe when it comes to millionaires. This image of all flashy and living like there's no tomorrow. Rather, they probably look pretty average. So how much does the typical millionaire spend at restaurants over the course of a typical month? Well, about $200. Like I said, I expected the number to be low, or at least lower than what the headline wanted you to believe, but I didn't expect it to be that low. So I guess they're right. I didn't guess correctly. What are your thoughts? And how much do you spend at restaurants each month? In my book, this is going to include meal delivery as well as takeout. It's basically anytime someone is preparing your food outside the home. When it comes to my husband and I, we go out probably twice a month, and it's pretty calculated. It's based on our credit cards. One of our credit cards gives us a $25 a month dining credit to use at any restaurant that we use the credit card at, so we make sure to use that every single month. And the other one gives us a $25 Uber credit. We always make sure to do pickup because I'm not gonna pay a delivery fee. So in total, we spend about $50 between the two of us for the entire month. Now, of course, the main point I want to use this article for really isn't just about restaurants. That's one line item in the budget, but rather it's an overall approach to life and finances. The fact of the matter is, most millionaires are incredibly hardworking and disciplined individuals. They probably look a lot like you or your neighbor or someone else you might know. In fact, when surveyed, most millionaires say it took them on average 28 years to reach millionaire status. And notably, according to a survey from Fidelity, 2/3 of all millionaires are self-made. And according to Ramsey Solutions, 79% of millionaires never received a single inheritance of any amount. These stats repeatedly underscore the fact for the vast majority of those with a seven-figure net worth, it is a goal that they themselves had to commit to accomplishing. Which is probably why it's not surprising to hear that 3 out of 4 millionaires said that regular, consistent investing over a long period of time is the reason for their success. After years of being diligent and careful with your money, you don't just suddenly have this mental shift thinking, oh, I'm rich now, I'll just spend whatever I want. Rather, those habits that you've built will stick with you, and you probably just feel normal. You feel the same way you've always felt. But when we look at millionaires, we can definitely gain insights from the way that they spend their money. You know how I said that dining out was simply a line item in the budget? Well, the vast majority of millionaires do follow a budget, and they stick to it. They don't allow impulses to dictate their life. In fact, 93% of millionaires say they stick to a budget, whereas 73% of US adults say they don't follow a budget. Now, I think a budget's an amazing tool, but I also understand that not everyone wants to track every single dollar that's coming into and going out of their account. So on the one hand, yes, I do think it's an invaluable tool that keeps you on track financially. It basically puts some guardrails in place to keep you in check. But I also think you can do just as well if you just simply track your expenses, and you don't necessarily have to adhere to a strict budget. But one way or another, you have to know what's happening with your money, because following a budget or tracking your spending allows you to know if you're living below your means. And living below your means is the only way, no matter what your income level, to have some money to set aside to save and invest and grow your wealth over time. And also, following a budget gets you away from that impulse spending, and it promotes delayed gratification. Before any noteworthy purchase, successful people always say, let me run the numbers. They know the true cost of big purchases. They consider the alternatives. They weigh the opportunity costs of not spending the money. They know if this is a good way they should be spending their money. They probably even have an Excel spreadsheet that's color-coded with multiple tabs that they plug this number into to make sure it fits within their plan. They don't make careless or uninformed decisions with their dollars. Rather, they're deliberate with their dollars. Successful people tend to have a long-term focus when it comes to their finances, as well as their overall life. It's really that delayed gratification that I mentioned before. When you have a long-term focus, you're fine making small sacrifices today, knowing they have a larger, more exponential payoff down the road. Living below your means today allows you to have a brighter financial future. Putting away small amounts of money today ensures that there will be a large nest egg in your family's future to take care of you. And it's really hard to have a long-term focus in today's society where we're constantly told that we should be living for the moment. And yes, absolutely, you want to enjoy your today, but you also want to prepare for your future. Another way in which people who are successful with their money actually mind their dollars is they know there's a big distinction between a want and a need. For instance, you may need a car. Maybe you need a car to get to work, to run errands, to take your kid to school. The fact of the matter is, many of us need a car in today's society. However, you do not need a $60,000 luxury SUV. It may be something you want, but it's not necessarily something that you need. You could easily get yourself, say, a $30,000 very safe and reliable vehicle and leave the other $30,000 in an account growing and building a better future. And it's not just big ticket items. This question of a want versus a need literally comes up hundreds of times a day. Anytime we log into social media and we're advertised new products, anytime we open up Amazon or simply walk through a store. Once you can clearly discern the difference between a want and a need, you can more consciously spend your dollars. When it comes to the wealthy, they know how interest works. You can either allow interest to work in your favor or it can work against you. When you invest, say put money in the stock market, interest is working in your favor. Over time, the stock market has averaged a return of about 10%. Or you can invest in yourself, enhance your skill set, earn yourself greater pay. Or you can invest in starting a business, as many millionaires are small business owners. On the other hand, interest can work against you, and this is generally going to occur when you borrow money. Now, I say this with a grain of salt because there's absolutely different types of debt. For instance, if you buy a home for you and your family to live in, this may require a mortgage, and that can end up being a great asset. But there are bad types of debt, think consumer debt. And while most millionaires do use credit cards, you're never going to find a millionaire carrying a credit card balance and paying interest to the tune of 20%. That's a surefire way to kill your wealth. And you're never going to find a millionaire signing up for these payment installment plans in order to buy unnecessary consumer goods. When it comes to your finances, you should absolutely put yourself first. Think of that airplane motto. You're supposed to put your oxygen mask on first before you help anyone else. It's the same with your finances. Make sure that you're paying yourself first. Anytime you get a paycheck, set aside some towards savings or investments. Then go on to take care of anything else. If you do it the other way around, you take care of all your expenses, you pay everyone else first, and then wait to pay yourself with what's left over, you might find that there's nothing left over. And feeding right off that previous one, you want to make this process of setting aside something for savings and investments automatic. Set up a reoccurring investment every single month so you don't have to think about it. If you manually have to go in and make this investment every single month, at some point, life's gonna get busy and you're gonna forget about it, and it's simply not going to happen. Even if you have that money in your account, it's probably just gonna end up sitting there. More likely than not though, it's probably gonna get spent. Most successful people have more than one stream of income. And having multiple streams of income not only makes it easier to build wealth, but also reduces your reliance on any single income source. And according to the IRS, the average millionaire has 7 different streams of income. And this may seem overwhelming at first, but keep in mind that 3 of them can be accomplished simply through investing. Building up multiple streams of income can absolutely help you hit your financial goals faster, but just keep in mind that it does take time to build up these multiple streams of income, and be wary of anyone advertising quick routes to passive income. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And generally, I tend to believe that the only true source of passive income comes through investing. The fact of the matter is, much of your financial education is going to fall on your shoulders. Most of us were never taught about finances in school. And even if you were, it was probably just the basics. And yes, the basics are important. They lay the foundation for everything else, but you're still gonna wanna keep learning. Because at the end of the day, no one is ever going to care about your money more than you do. When you start out in life, you tend to start with those beginning financial subjects. Think budgeting and dollar cost averaging. As life goes on, gets a little more complex, you go into those intermediary subjects. Think asset allocation and diversification, debt management, and tax mitigation. As your wealth grows over time, you have to become an expert at it. You have to go into wealth preservation and again, a deeper dive into taxes, because as your wealth grows, you'll realize that so much of the focus becomes on preserving it and reducing your tax burden. And there can absolutely be times when it's appropriate to reach out to a trusted expert. Think an accountant, a lawyer, or a financial planner. But no matter what is happening with your money, you should be kept in the loop and abreast of your financial situation. Most millionaires and most successful people are very deliberate with their dollars. They're very conscious of how they're spending and how they're saving. That's how they became successful. It doesn't just one day flip off like a switch. Rather, quite the contrary. They become more deliberate with their finances the more wealth they accumulate. So what do you do with your finances? Do any of these habits resonate with you? Let me know your thoughts in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye.